I will be right back on Zoom if this whole thing goes south. Okay. Here we go. Okay, guys. Let's all right. So far, so good. Let's warm up. I know you may be sore from yesterday. I understand that. That was tough to do. Let's just do 2 minutes. You guys are all good. Run, bike, row, and we'll get there. The point of today's training session is that it is going to continue to build in complexity. So, you know, we could have gone the route of saying like, hey, let's do a bunch of burpees, a bunch of push-ups, a bunch of lunges, but we're not. It's not going to be that type of intensity, but it will definitely be hard, and it will be complex in terms of what I'm going to require you from an overhead position, in a step up, in a lunge step. And then at the end, just so you know, we kind of finish with this, something that's a little bit more familiar to you, but we're doubling down on it this week because it is a chest press. And then we're going to do, if you have a barbell at home, for you guys, we're going to do the wheel of death, which the name sounds scary. It's just an abdominal activity. I'll give you guys 1 more minute here, and we'll warm up into this, but there is a lot of overhead stuff that we've done in the past. In the last cycle we did a lot of like overhead step up, overhead lunge step. So if you have a box or a bench with you, that's going to be very helpful. And I will help warm you up to get you there. I just got to put my gloves on. It's cold. Good, guys. 15 seconds here. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Come off. Here's what's going to happen. Kristen, do you remember on Sundays we've been working in that A-frame position?
Yeah.
Yep. So it's an overhead position. It almost looks like a down dog position where you're pressing down into the ground. All I want you to do is get into this shape and count 5 deep breaths into your upper back. So you're going to breathe 5 times here. Good. And then you're going to just press your head forward into a plank. And out of that plank, you're going to do 5 push-ups. And so we're going to start to get your shoulders hot. And what I want you to think about is this being your overhead position when you're in that A-frame. So your head goes down, you press onto the ground. That's perfect, Kristen. Yep, and then when you're done, what I want you to do is just stand up. And you're going to do, if you could, you'll need a box, Kristen, but you're going to do 5 step-ups on each leg. And then I want you to do 5 lunge steps on each leg. So 5 step-up and 5 lunge step. 5 step-up and 5 lunge step. Good. And we're doing nothing here except for getting ourselves in a place where we are completely warmed up and very used to these shapes. Okay, yeah, perfect, that'll work great. And you guys, I'm gonna actually have you roll through this 2 times. That A-frame, 5 deep breaths into your upper back. And then when you're done with your A-frame, you're gonna go into 5 push-ups, and then you'll do 5 lunge steps alternating. is fine, and then 5 step-ups. So 2 rounds of this, perfect. 2 rounds, 1 more round, and then I just gotta go grab one thing out of the printer so I know what I'm doing. Yep, that's good, guys. In that A-frame position, you can bend your knees. That is totally fine. Pete, tuck your head down. So your head goes down between your hands, Pete. There you go. There you go. Now that looks like an overhead shape. Perfect. Good, and you guys, once you finish your second round, we're gonna go back and you're gonna do 1 minute of run, bike, or row. Okay, 1 minute of run, bike, or row. And this time I want you to go a little faster. I want you to get out of breath here for this. We'll go through it together, so I'll wait for you guys to finish your lunge step and your step up. And we'll do 1 minute here on this run, bike, or row. 1 minute. And again, try and dial this in a little bit because we're gonna start to add some load to what we're doing here. Okay, let's roll in 10 seconds. If you can, if you're still working on your stuff, work on your stuff, that's fine. Okay, but 10 seconds here. Good, you're on. Yep, go ahead. So we're going to come out next and we're going to start to load some of this stuff. Yeah. So really, we're going to cover 2 activities. And a barbell push press and then a barbell overhead lunge. Now, there's going to be a lot of variance as to what you can do with this. If you're limited in your overhead position and if you're limited in your lunge position. But don't worry, I'll help. So we'll figure it out. It's going to work either way, even if you're like, I can't take a full lunge step. Don't worry, okay? We'll get you there. So you guys, in about 10 seconds, come on off. Okay, that's good. Rest there, come on off. Okay. Paul, can you hear me back there in the back? Can you hear me? Okay, good, good. Okay, so you guys, I just want you to grab your bar, okay, put it in a front rack position, and just with an empty barbell, all I want you to do, since all you know you're going to do is press overhead, there's no reason to press your elbows up here. You can drop your elbows so they're right under the bar. Yeah, that's perfect. Your feet go under your hips, and just practice 6 of these push press. So your feet come in under your hips. You're still working on your feet there. Yep. John, get your toes forward, get your feet under your hips. When your bar is overhead, squeeze your butt. So it's an active position. Good, perfect. Yep. Dave, get your hands like 5 inches wider. So there you go, but wide grip. Good. Okay, so now, once you've done 6 there, yep, you can re-rack your bar. You're going to come back into this same position. Okay, you're going to press your bar overhead. Okay, and you may want an even wider grip here. Now that's up to you. But what you're going to do from this position is you're going to do this lunge step, and you'll notice the bar stays in the same position, the exact same position, okay, in the overhead. The wider grip will allow for you to control your spine a little bit more. So I want you to practice 3 on each side. Good, and if you can't go all the way down in a lunge step, literally just loading this long step is totally fine. Good. Okay. Good, so now, let's just work on loading just this activity. Okay, let's work on loading this activity. What I'd like to do is I'd like to get to a place where you're like, This is heavy for 6. Okay, like I can do 6 of these. Okay, and then you could re-rack the bar. Okay, set it down, press it again one more time, and then you would do 6 here. Now that is 6, meaning 3 on each side. So it's a significant load that's heavy. Okay, and if you're like, you guys can mix this up however you want. If you're like, that doesn't work, you could bring it down into a front rack position and do that lunge step. That's okay. It's not ideal, because what I like about this overhead is that the spine is fully loaded. And so we talked about this. With this overhead, you have no choice but to be very engaged in your core. That's why it's going to be hard to breathe, because everything's so wrapped in tight around your spine to keep you protected. Your body just do that. Okay, that's what makes this challenging. Okay, and it gets you out of breath very quickly. So I would prefer if you do that. If you're like, I'd rather use dumbbells to do that, you can use dumbbells to do that. You can tinker around with this any way you want, but I'll give you a couple minutes to try and load. Again, I say this is heavy for 6, okay, this push press, and then you can do 3 on each side with that lunge step. So let's try and load accordingly. I'll give you a couple minutes to do that. And if you're like, it's an empty barbell, that's fine, totally fine. And you can change this up as we go along. If you're like, I want to start with an empty barbell, you can do that. Okay, that is not a problem. Good. Once you've got this down, you may want to practice a little bit. Good.
Should I be doing it over here?
Yeah, you're good. Yeah, they can see you better that way.
I'm not sure if I want this way, but
You'll be just fine.
overhead part.
Whatever you do is just fine, to be honest with you. They don't always want to see someone do it perfect.
What's that?
They don't always want to see someone do it perfect. They want to see someone like, oh, I did. Yes. Yeah, so you do your thing, and that's even better for them. Good. Okay. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
You guys good? Great. Kristen, you'll need a kettlebell to press overhead. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is you're going to grab your kettlebell and you're going to put it in one arm. Okay, so you're going to have a kettlebell and you're going to put your, and if you prefer a dumbbell, that's okay too. Okay, but the kettlebell goes over the back of your arm. Okay, and all I want you to do with your elbow in is I want you to practice pressing overhead. You should be able to get in this lockout position that we talked about. Yes, it's a lockout where you're like, yep, I can lock my elbow out and I can kind of hang in this shape. You'll be in some trouble, okay, you'll be in some trouble if you can't lock out. That's good, John. Remember that thumb, doing the best you can to keep that thumb pointed back. Good, rib cage in tight, squeeze the butt. You should be able to do 6 on each side. So it should be a pretty heavy load. The test is this, it's a push press. So if you could stand and just press out of this shape, then it's probably not heavy enough. You would need your hip to press overhead. Now, once you're like, yeah, that's heavy for 6, put that in the overhead lockout position. Good. And all I want you to do is put one foot on top of your box and then practice your step up. And you're going to figure out which foot goes up and which foot stays down. That's totally up to you. Good. And then try that step up and you see, you're like, I got to really brace to get this work done. I've got to really brace to get this work done. Good. Yep, and make sure the elbow stays locked out. Now, thumb back, Janelle, get that thumb to go back. Don't let that thumb come forward. There you go. You really got to wind that shoulder up, Pete. Don't let that elbow bend. Yep, so when that elbow bends, you're going to have some problems. And if you're like, my elbow keeps bending and this doesn't feel right, it feels sketchy, take it, put it in a front rack position and do it from a front rack position. That's okay. All right, guys. So let's just try this. I did put some time frames on it. It's a 3-minute working set. So it's all 6s. So you're going to go through and do 6 push press and then 6 overhead lunge step. That means 3 per side. Now if you have a heavy load, that's going to work just fine for you. You're going to set your bar down after your lunge step and you're going to be like, I got to breathe. Okay, if it's not heavy enough, you could add volume, and I would recommend it because I want this to be a stimulus. Okay, I want you to be fatigued. When you're done, you'll count 6 push press with the kettlebell, okay? And then you'll do this only on the right side. I'll help you. Okay, only on the right side, and then you'll do 6 step-ups with the kettlebell overhead, only on the right side. Yes, good. And then we'll go and do the left side. I'll walk you through the whole thing. You don't have to worry about anything. Okay, if there's questions, you should ask me now. Otherwise, I'm going to walk you through it. Okay, so I'm saying the number 6, but after the first round, okay, you guys will figure it out. Okay, after the first round, you'll figure it out. Okay, I will turn the music up, but first let's get through this first round. 3, 2, 1. So it's 6 push press. Good. 6 push press. That's right. Dip, drive, press overhead, and we can figure this out as we go along. You'll need 6 of these. Elbows in, elbows in, elbows in. Good. Yep, that's it. That's good, Therese. Good. Then it's 6 lunge step overhead. That's good. It's 3 on each side. That's all it is. 3 on each side. Rib cage in super tight. Good. So you're really, yep, that's right. And this you should be like, oh my gosh, that gets me out of breath. Good. Yes. Good. And then when you're done with your lunge step, you're going to grab your kettlebell. Yep. And you're going to push, press 6 times. Good. Yep, and then once you've done 6, you've got to keep that overhead position. Good, thumb back, elbow locked out, and you're going to do 6 step-ups on one side. 6 step-ups on one side, thumb back, overhead lockout position, and you just keep that up there, and you'll do 6 step-ups on right, and then 6 step-ups on left. Good, yep, and you should be like, yep, this works, this gets me out of breath. And again, I'm encouraging you not to just press that into the air. Okay, I want you to think about, Elizabeth, turn your thumb back. Get that thumb turned back. And if you're like, oh, this feels sketchy, it's probably sketchy, in which case, pull that kettlebell in. But you're going to probably want to do more reps if you're not overhead. Okay, you're going to probably want more reps if you're not overhead. Okay, good. So you guys got about 90 seconds here. Good. Therese, you got to press into that thing the whole time. I can see your elbow bending. Good. Good. Yeah. Yes, that looks good. Okay, good. So we're getting there. You got about a minute to go. Okay. That's about right. Okay. Elbow in, Therese. Elbow in. You're going to press overhead. Okay, so as you can see, there's definitely some complexity here to this. In about 45 seconds, we're going to go through our next round. We're going to do 5 rounds like this. And if you're like, I can't go overhead, I just can't get to that shape, okay, it's too hard for me, it feels weird, okay, put it into this front rack position, no problem. However, the demand and the stimulus is totally different, okay, because the load bearing down on you is totally different. So in which case, I would ask that you shift, instead of doing 6s, it's probably going to be 10 to 12, okay, repetitions. So the lunge step would probably be 6 per side if it's not overhead, and the step up would probably have to be 10 per side if it's not overhead. That's probably the equivalent. Okay, in 5 seconds we'll go. I think you guys are going to get through this. Okay, 3, 2, 1, let's go. But make these changes. If you're finishing this and you've got like 90 seconds to rest, you're clearly not getting done what we need to get done. And I will help you by giving you some directive here. Good. Yes, that's good. And it's okay to finish your push press and be like, I need a minute to rest before I go into this. Yes, you've got plenty of time, Therese. There's plenty of time to do that. Good. Yep. Good, Elizabeth. Yep, keep pressing into this. Good, and remember, if you can begin to express that full lunge, that's great. You can touch that back knee to the ground, that's good, but you got to organize your feet, drive that knee out, Elizabeth. you who are finishing, you're like, yeah, I got about a minute to rest. So I really only want a 30-second gap here. 5 seconds and we're on. This is round 3. Okay, round 3. Ready? 2, 1, here we go. Yep, starting with the push press. Good, guys. Yes, good. Yeah, that's it, Catherine. Good. Give me good. Good, guys. Yep, there's enough time that you could even be like, I'm going to use a heavy load for my push press, and then I'll change it for my overhead lunge. You could do that. Good. Pressing into that bar, and you'll notice how much easier this is with the bar, because it closes this kinetic chain that you have. It makes it close. Good. Rib cage pulled down. Good. Good, guys. So there's 2 minutes to go. And what I'm saying is, when you've done this correctly, it's going to take you about 2.5 minutes. You should have about 30 seconds to put your hands on your knees and rest. Good, number 1. And number 2, I'm looking for a specific stimulus here, which is one that says like, hey, I'm out of breath here, okay? Because these movements are pretty technical and they're high demand on your core. If you're doing this right, high demand on your core, where you're like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna do this loaded lunge or this loaded step up. If it's overhead, yes, it works. Okay? If it's not overhead, you've got to add volume. There's about 90 seconds. Good. Good. And you can go back to some of the language we've created and some of the things we've used and say, hey, when this kettlebell's overhead, if my thumb isn't back and my elbow's not locked out, this just won't work for me. Okay, so you have 2 choices. Either I'm going to make it work, or I'll switch and I'll just put it in a front rack position. Good. About 45 seconds left. So in the next 15 to 30 seconds, you should be rolling in on this. That's better. Good, that looks better. So you're finding ways to get there. Good. There's 30 seconds here, guys. 30 seconds. 20 seconds. Good, so we'll move on to round 4. We're going to do 2 more rounds of this. That's all we have. We just have 2 more rounds of this. So it's pretty potent work, but there's not a lot of it. Okay, here we go. You're on. So let's roll here again. Good. 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 And remember, a lot of this is load dependent. I've given you enough time to be like, yeah, I can change the load if I have to. Yes, that's probably what it should look like. Good, where you go like, I can do 6 of these, then I got to rest, and then I got to get back overhead. That's good, Janelle. Yep, that's great. Yep. Good. Yep, that's it, Tammy. Good. That looks pretty good. You guys, again, ideally trying to find that spot where you touch that back knee to the ground. If you can, you got to be really conscious of being really pulled down in the rib cage. 2 minutes to go. Yes, that's perfect. Good. Therese, don't let that elbow bend. So you got to be really thinking about that position all the way up and all the way down. Good. And that's part of it, you guys, is that all of this is very mindful. It's not like doing a regular lunge step or a regular step up. You actually really have to stop and slow down and think about the position for this to work. Good, guys. Got about 90 seconds, and again, it's enough time. It's going to push you a little bit as we go into this last round. Good. got about 60 seconds. I like the way this is shaping up for you. Therese, bring your feet in. Bring your feet in. They're right under your hips, Therese, while you're pressing. Not that far. There you go. Yep. Right there. Good. Yep. Good, guys. So you got 45 seconds, and probably in the next 15 to 30 seconds, you're going to want to have come around her on this. Good. And you've got all these ways to kind of assess whether or not you should be in this position. Is my elbow locked out? Can I get my thumb pointed back? Is my rib cage in tight? Can I control my spine? Good. You got about 25 seconds. There's one more round coming up, you guys. One more round of this coming up. And again, yes, it's technical work. It's a heavy load. So it's similar to yesterday in a sense. Pretty complex. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're on. Yeah, you're on. Good. Good. Yeah, that's right, Laura. That's good. Tammy, good. Good, guys. Good. Final round for this work, you guys. Final round for this work. Good. Two minutes and a little bit of change to go, and you should be at that place where you're like, this is hard to do. This is very challenging and tough to do. Good. Good. That's better. Keep pressing into that the whole time, Therese. Good, guys. That's good. Good, guys. Got about a minute, 20 seconds. You can take this all the way to the end because we'll have a little break after this. Good. And again, it's not too much. Good. Yeah. That's good, guys. So this looks right. Yeah, that's good, Catherine. Good. Laura, good. Last minute to try and get this work done, you guys. Good, so there's 45 seconds here, and then we're going to totally shift gears, and I'll show you how we'll do it. Good. Get that torso upright in that press and in that step up. Good, guys. About 20 seconds here. Yeah. Good. As you finish this up, good job. That turned out to work out the way I wanted it to. That was good. Okay, so as you guys finish this up, all I want you to do is take your barbell, you're going to set it on the floor, and we're going to do a chest press off the floor, but my only rule is that the load for your chest press should be heavier than the load for your push press. So you're going to want to add weight to whatever it is that you're doing. And by the way, if you're like, I don't want to use the barbell and press off the floor, that's totally fine. Okay, you could use dumbbells. Okay, but again, you're now going to work off of the floor. And if some of you want to pull your J-hooks lower, you can. Okay, or some of you don't mind sneaking under your bar and just rolling it up. You could do that as well. But my only rule right now is that you're going to make your barbell load heavier. And it should be heavy for a set of somewhere between 10 and 15. Good. And it's just going to be a regular chest press. And what I want you to make sure of, perfect, Kristen, is that your shoulder blades are peeled back and your knees are bent with feet flat on the ground. Awesome. Okay? So this is going to be activity 1. And activity 2, we've actually done this before. Okay? It's a barbell rollout. You're going to do it bent knee. So if you hop on your knees here, yep. And what I want to have happen is you're going to get your head below the barbell while keeping the shoulder and the pelvis connected through the spine. So you're going to roll the bar all the way out, okay? And you're going to duck your head all the way between your hands. It's going to go lower than the bar. There you go. And then you're going to pull to come all the way back up. Okay? Yeah, you're getting some applause, just so you know, for that.
I was doing my head.
And by the way, if you're like, that doesn't work for me, that's totally fine. Sub it out for any core activity you want, a reverse crunch, a loaded sit-up. I'm going to give you 3 minutes per round. We're going to do 5 rounds, the same schematic. You're going to do 15 chest press, and then 10 of those, what we're calling wheel of death. Okay, the wheel of death. Okay, so my clock will start here for you guys in 45 seconds. And again, it's 15 of the chest press. The load should be heavier than what your load was for your push press. In about 30 seconds we'll start, so we haven't started yet. You'll have 3 minutes to complete each one of these rounds, which is plenty of time. Okay, it's like the other 3 minutes. It's there to kind of keep us on track. So you'll finish with like 30 seconds to go. You'll take a breath and then we'll start again. So 15 seconds, and you'll notice how that wheel of death takes you all the way to the end range, completely stretched out in the core. So 3, 2, 1. Okay, now you're on, and you have plenty of time here for this. So chest press is 15. Good. Shoulder blades peeled back and together the entire time. Good. Good, guys. The elbows should be at a 45-degree angle as they come down, so don't let the elbows flare. Good. And your end range is when you feel your shoulder blades, when you feel your elbows touch the ground. So if your elbows are not touching the ground, you're missing some of that end range here. Good, so it's 15 chest press, 1-5. Yep, and you should be able to finish this with time to rest here. This is not designed to be a rush. Okay, it's not designed to go quickly through this. Good, and again, the end of that wheel of death is with your head below the bar. Okay, head all the way down below the bar. Good. The worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to go to the ground and you're going to be like, oh, I can't get up. But that's how you would know you've gotten to the end of this wheel of death. Your head goes all the way below the bar. Good, and then you get tight and you have to come up, hip and shoulder connected. Good, that's it. John, do it bent knee, there you go. Yep, 90 seconds, so you can see there is plenty of time, and each one of these is done 1 rep at a time. Now if your hips come up, you've shut off your core. So you've got to keep pulling your hips down the entire time. Yep, your hips stay down the whole time. That's it, Pete, good job. Good, and a lot of this is pressing down into that bar. You get a little bit of work from your lats on this. Good, so you guys have about a minute to go. Yeah. And I say 10. You might be like, I can get 5 quality reps in. Head below bar if you're going to do it. Good. Or you might be like, well, I got this. No problem. I'll do 12 of them. Good. Keep the hips down. So on the way up, if you break, you'll notice that your elbows bend. So if the elbows are bent, you're really stealing from the stability in your core. So it should be stiff elbows locked out. You got 30 seconds. We'll start our second round. We're doing 5 rounds of this. It gets a little... sit-ups that we're working on. This is a big, huge stretch for the front of your abdominal muscles, which is what makes it really hard because you're fully exposed here and then you're asked to contract. You guys got about 15 seconds. We'll roll into our third round. Five seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're on here. Good, guys. So again, 15 on the chest press. You know, I say 15, but it really, the last 5 reps should be hard to do. That's all. Good. Shoulder blades squeeze in the back, feet anchored to the ground. That kind of closes the whole system. Good, so about 2 minutes, and most of that work is on this rollout, right? Most of it is. There you go, that's good. Take your time. None of this is done quickly, okay? And that's why you have the full 3 minutes. Good, guys. Yeah. Never unloading in that bottom position. Okay, just getting that head below the bar. You got a whole minute and 10 seconds. I'm asking for 10, but you're doing what works for you. Super hard to do, right? Good. I'll let you guys keep working here if you want. 35 seconds. And we have time for one more round. We can do one more. We can do one more, right? Yeah. So you guys, we'll do one more round. Last one. We'll do one more. And then we'll start clearing stuff out. 15 seconds till we start this last round. So 5 seconds, you'll get your chest press in. We'll also go through, and you're on, and do that wheel of death one more time. So you're starting to figure out what your limitations are here and how this should go for you. Good. Good, guys. So 2 minutes, plenty of time, and you guys have figured this out. Stiff arms, straight arms as you roll this out. Good, and clearly the most challenging piece of this is this wheel of death piece. Yep, so stiff arms, shoulders rolled back, pulling the hips down. Good. And it's almost like you're hollowed out in this position. That's better. Good. Good, guys. Last 75 seconds for you. Nice, Pete. Straight arms, Therese. Don't let those elbows bend. You gotta lock those elbows out. Good job. Good. I know it's hard to get to that bottom and then lose all that tension. So see if you can just keep all that tension in your system as you roll this out. You got about 40 seconds, you guys. Good, Elizabeth. About 30 seconds to close this out. And again, straight elbows. Don't unload in the bottom. Don't lay on the ground. If you can't get that far, don't go that far. All right, guys. So, rest there. Good. And let's do this, you guys. So rest there. Let's clear bars out, wipe everything down. If you could put your barbells back, that would be great. So put your barbells back where they were in the holders. That'd be great. And then tomorrow we're back on. And again, tomorrow's it's the final session of a very tough week of training, 3 weeks of training. We'll have some reprieve. Sunday is off this week, you guys. So gym is closed on Sunday. I'm going to post an on-demand mobility workout. Okay, so on Sunday, all you need is a foam roller, and that's all. And if you follow along, it's a 30-minute mobility and foam rolling session for you. It'll be posted on demand, so you guys can tune in and watch that on Sunday. And then next week, we'll send out a communication as to what's going to happen next week, but we'll have a fun little challenge around steps, non-exercise activity, to try and give you guys a week of reprieve here. So hopefully you're willing to follow along. Great job. We have one more tough one tomorrow, you guys, so just hang in there. Back squat, front squat, lunge step. Tough to do. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. Hit me with any questions. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks, Kristen. You were great. Thank you.
You guys think sleep in the basement? Yeah. I had COVID. And I asked Susan, you want me to sleep in the basement? She said, she never got it.